All right, I am here with the Graysons. This is going to be the only dual interview we're going to have this weekend. So thank you guys for carving out time to talk about your short film, I Am of You. This is Rick Grayson. He is one of the actors in the film, and this is Holly Grayson. She is the writer-director of this film. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good.
Well, let's jump into this. So, this movie it's called I Am of You, and it's very chaotic. It's very vibrant, and just as an actor, because I don't get to interview actors very often. So, from an acting standpoint, can you kind of talk about what it was like working with your wife and kind of really disappearing into this role, because you're really menacing in this movie?
Well, for starters, I appreciate the compliment. And, we weren't married at the time. We just got married, last month?
Last month, yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. And, but we were a couple at the time, but we've worked together on set before. She's done different shoots where I work as her PA, and we work together very well. And, she just kind of told me what to do and where to do it, and I made it happen.
Could you kind of talk about the process of getting into that role? Because I feel like it's not every day that I get to interview a guy that is menacing. I mean, you guys can't. Obviously, you can see it here. Rick's a big dude, He's a little bit intimidating. So,
I'm a big dude.
So could you kind of talk about jumping in and finding that darker side?
Yeah. Well, the way the original story was written, it was very easy to get a grasp of the character and what he was like and where he was coming from. And then when Holly took that and converted it into a script, it became even easier. I already had, reading through it, I already had an idea for the voice in my head, and I took inspiration from other movies. As far as his dark, low tone like this, it came from the Wishmaster movies.
Oh,
with the gin, make your wishes.
Yeah, all right, let's go.
And and he was just so condescending and nasty about everything. It basically let me do everything that I want to do, and I'm not afraid to tell people. And I just had a lot of fun with the role.
So, how long did it take you to find the laugh? Because that is kind of the signature of the character, and I know that from reading other actor interviews, sometimes the laugh is one of those things that takes a while. Is it just kind of come natural to you?
It took a few hours in a bathroom in front of the mirror. I'm sure there was a lot of weird noises from outside, and people was like, what the hell is he doing in there? And whatever he's doing, he's either really good at it or really bad at it. But like I said, I already had I had an idea in my head already. It was just making my vocal cords match my mind, and it took some trial and error, in front of the mirror. And then once the camera was on, it's it's go time. Let's do this.
Nice. So Holly, this movie is, as Rick said, it's adapted. It comes from a short story. It's the denizens of a character name. I can't remember what it is. Louis Shepherd, by Michael Wolff. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of talk about the process of adapting a short story into a short film?
Yeah, actually, this film was a long time in the making. I was contacted by Michael Wolff in 2009. Yeah, to do one of his short stories, and we picked out The Denizens of Louis Shepherd. I'm like, yeah, whenever I get a chance to do it, I want to do it. That was in 2012, and I got really busy for a long time, and I think he actually passed away too. He was really sick with multiple sclerosis at the time, so just kept it in my back pocket. And then when I got laid off, pandemic, for 2 months, because I'd work as a filmmaker for a PR firm, and I got laid off, and I was like, I guess it's time to pull out the denizens here and make the movie. So I contacted him. I was like, hey, we're going to do this. Can you learn a lot of dialogue really quickly? He's like, sure. So I took the story, went through, and kind of adapted it to what I knew we could do. There's a part in the beginning where it is a hot tub with spiders in it with a naked lady. that's just not going to work for what we had and the time that we had. So I kind of adapted it to more of like a nightmarish dream of him and the woman. And then I pulled back in the water aspect. I want to kind of keep that in there with a fish tank shot from underneath. So it was a lot of fun.
I'm really glad you brought up the beginning. As I mentioned in the beginning of the interview, this movie is very vibrant. So like we open up, like the dream sequence is very red. It's very blue. Then there are other sequences that are green. There's some like beautiful purple shots in here. There's like fog and mist in the beginning of it. I got to imagine that something like that, like to have it turn out as great as it did. Can you kind of talk about the challenges of like creating worlds within this world to kind of give that otherworldly feel that Louis feeling?
Yeah, actually, most of my early work, and even now, I work in the music video realm. So I worked in a lot of metal music videos and a lot of surreal type things. So that's basically that's my wheelhouse. So in everything that I do, there's a little bit of that in there.
That's awesome.
If you would have seen where we actually were shooting that, you've been like, this is going to look like crap, because it was in a junked up, tiny little garage. and Nathan, who's wonderful, who plays Louis, was on his knees during those shots. So I would be able to have, so I could not see the top of the garage.
That's dedication right there. That's really cool.
Oh, and we covered him with blood. We did, I threw him around like a rag doll, and he was such a good sport the whole time. He was great. Even whenever he was like, okay, I'm covered with blood,
he
freezing.
Was freezing.
Can
Evidently,
I take a shower now?
When you get covered in blood, and we use a brand called I Can't Believe It's Not Blood, which is the best. And he's like, this stuff is so cold. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was just pouring blood over him and going, I'm so sorry. Pints and pints and pints and pints. He's like, I'm going to get through it. I'm going to get through it. And he did. I wish you would have been able to meet him. He's cool.
It's like so seamless, because like his performance in the film is really what I feel like excels it. It's really what allows it to be as effective as it is, because I feel like kind of this premise of like there are voices in my head and we're going to personify that voices. Like I feel like that's something that like the genre has explored before, but I think with Rick's performance and the writing and the visuals, it's able to really bring that together. And with this one, with it being kind of a crowded subgenre, how did you manage, or like how did you set out to kind of make a story that was going to like stand out?
Well, I think it was really important for me to have an actor who would be able to act without having a lot of dialogue. He was very good at showing the turmoil in his brain through his face. So that was really, really a key part, I think.
And he knocked it out of the park on it. He really did a good job of just being able to, anyone can say lines. You can read a piece of paper, you can memorize those lines, and you can say them.
Yeah.
To be able to show that in your face, in your gestures and everything is something completely different. And he did an awesome job. And working with him, me and him were in very close proximity a lot. And, we didn't want to kill each other by the end of it.
And they also are both first-time actors.
Yeah.
I mean, they're performers. They've been in the music business for a very, very long time, but they've never done anything in front of a camera like this.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, it's really, really great job for them.
I love it when, like, I feel like an actor is, like, been at this for, like, a long time, and then you find out that, no, this is just something that he just kind of came into.
I popped my cherry on this one.
Just a little bit. So talking about these characters in terms of like mental health, because that's one of the things that's one of our core values. It's what sets us apart from other publications. For you as an actor, like digging into the Denizen, what were some of the practices that you found yourself while in the head of that character without like diving like overboard into the character?
Well, I know there was times like I had to remind myself like this is him, this is not me, which not only did that give me permission to do things that I would not do as a person, it kind of helped me keep things reeled in to where, I hope with that role we could in a way bring a attention to people that really are suffering from things like this, and not come off as we're making fun of them or exploiting them or anything.
And that was really important to me too, because we both have a mutual friend who is very open about having a multiple personality disorder. It was very important to be, especially to her and everyone else who suffers from things like that, to be respectful. And she viewed the movie and loved it. She said, you were very respectful, you did very well, and I wish it was a feature, is what she said. You ever talked to her about that?
Well, one of the things that I think this film conveys really well is that whole like struggle of like depression, anger, a lot of like that inner turmoil that you feel, and Rick's performance as the denizen kind of being the personification of that it worked really well. I feel like that's really kind of what brings the film together. It kind of talking about that in terms of with mental health as a writer, did you find that it was how did you kind of tap into like the whole like bringing that personification to where like the denizen actually felt like an extension of Louis' psyche?
I don't know, it was kind of, for me, I took what was already there in the story and kind of just sprinkled little bits of things that I'd experienced in my life too. I've gone through some really crazy stuff, especially recently, and just kind of pulled all of that out of myself, like any artist does. Sure. and pumped it into that. What about you?
Kind of same. I mean, in my opinion, my thoughts, a bit of the denizen like lives inside of everyone.
Yeah, that's
that nasty dark cloud of like resentment and doubt and depression and self-loathing. And I, as a musician, almost any artist, none of us are what you would call like right
normal
in the head.
Yeah. Especially not.
The best songs I've ever written have come from the absolute worst times in my life. So we all have that weight on us, that burden, and so being able to bring it to light and everything was a lot of fun. Plus, it gave me a license to be the biggest asshole that I could be.
One of the things I think it just kind of jumping off that point is like, a big comic fan. So like clearly one of the most iconic comics is like The Killing Joke from Alan Moore. It's like this exploration of like basically an everyday guy being one bad day away from becoming the Joker. And I think that you guys absolutely kind of capture that same vibe, that same tone with I Am of You. So kind of gearing into like, what does the festival run look like for you guys post GenreBlast? What's next for you guys?
Actually, we're kind of waiting for a lot of answers to come back as far as where we're going next. I think the actual next thing we have is Mountain Craft Film Festival
in Clarksburg, West Virginia.
Mm-hmm. That's the only one that we have right now. As far as next projects, we're both working on a documentary on the late Nick Menza from Megadeth. I'm working with David Ellefson on that, and hopefully that'll be done very soon. I've been working on it forever.
Well, that sounds awesome. So in the meantime, once you guys have kind of had the festival run over with, when can people kind of like, if they're not fortunate enough to catch it on the festival circuit, when are they able to catch it?
Hopefully by next year. I'm not going to keep it on the festival circuit forever. So.
All right. Well, where can people find you guys online and follow all of the filmmaking and other future projects you guys have?
You can find me on Facebook. It's Screaming Butterfly Entertainment. Also on YouTube, Screaming Butterfly Entertainment. I really don't do that much Instagram or any of that stuff because I'm old. So Screaming Butterfly Entertainment anywhere. And
you can find me on Facebook, Rick Grayson. Super easy.
All right. Well, we'll provide links for those in the show notes below. I thank you guys so much for your time. This has been a great conversation. The movie is called I Am of You. If you guys get a chance to catch it out on the festival circuit, highly recommend it. It's visually assaulting, great performances, great writing, great direction. So stay classy until the next one.